Adventure Week is coming back in Pokemon Go, starting June 7th until June 12th. It'll be Adventure Week. If you're not familiar with Adventure Week, it just means a lot of like fossil type Pokemon, a lot of rock type spawns happening in the wild, usually debuting new fossil type Pokemon. And here we could see that Amaura and Tyrunt will be debuting in Pokemon Go. Also, in the promotional image, we have Unknown F. I don't know if this is a little add-in from the devs here, giving commentary on the current state of the game. Or maybe it's gonna be, like, ooh, each event there's another unknown letter. What does it spell out? We'll have to find out in the future, right? But for right now, let's talk about the event. Let's talk about Tyrunt and Amaura and how good their evolutions are going to be in the PvP and raid metas. So first up, we got Tyrunt and Tyrantrum. They are rock dragon type Pokemon because if you're a raptor, you're not a dragon, but if you're a T-Rex, then I guess that makes you a dragon, right? So when it comes to Great League PvP, you can see that both forms do fit in the Great League. This one is level 40, so no big XL needed. And then this one is level 18, so I guess you can't hatch it because you hatch them at level 20, right? You'd have to catch this one in the wild or trade for it, I guess. So that is something to keep in mind when it comes to Tyrantrum here. Now, when it comes to their stat products, they're 1800 range, which is around where like Dragonair is, which is good. It's a solid, good stat product to have if you're going to be like a B-list, dragon type Pokemon. So I think that they nestle pretty well in that role there. And yeah, they got Dragon Tail. So yeah, like Dragonair, it's a Dragon Breath, Dragon Tail type Pokemon. Now, Tyrunt does look a little bit better because it does have the Dragon Claw. Tyrantrum has Outrage to work with, although you can't see it. There it is, Outrage. It's got Outrage, Stone Edge, Crunch, and Earthquake. Tyrunt here has Dragon Claw, which is cool, earlier activation, but it has Ancient Power and Stomp, which aren't great. So you're probably not going to use Tyrunt, right? I know there's people out there that are going to build both of them for Great League because they're going to build everything for Great League, but you're probably just going to want to build Tyrantrum for Great League. When it comes to Tyrantrum, we got Dragon Tail, and then, yeah, we got Crunch, we got Earthquake, we got Stone Edge, we got Outrage to work with. I think the Crunch is going to be present on basically every moveset because it is the earlier activation move. It's got that debuff chance. Dark type is a good neutral coverage attack to add to that. So that'll be the bread and butter move. And then for the secondary charge move, I think it's really going to come down to what cup you're using Tyrantrum in. And I say cup because I don't really see this thing getting a lot of play in the open meta. Like, you could bring it to the open meta, much like you could bring Dragonair to the open meta, and it wouldn't be awful, but it'd be a lot worse than other options that you could bring into the open Great League. So yeah, so when it comes to a cup, it's sneaking into a cup based on its, rock or dragon subtyping. So it does have some viability there. It could have some unique resistances and coverage in these cups, right? Yeah, the secondary charge move is probably going to get based off of that. Another interesting thing with Tyrantrum too is that it's not just Dragon Tail. We also got Charm and Rock Throw to work with. Now you might think Charm, that's so crazy OP, in a dragon type cup, you could use Charm and it would be nuts. But dragons are weak to dragon, and they're no more weak to, Charm than dragon type attacks. So you're going to be using Dragon Tail anyways. So Charm is kind of useless, and I don't know why this T-Rex looking guy of all things has Charm. Like, there's so many other Pokemon that could get Charm, like Tapu Lele, for instance, that don't, but Tyrantrum gets Charm. That's so weird. At any rate, it also has Rock Throw, so that means in cup formats where you want to do aggressive rock type damage, Tyrantrum can bring that. It's got, unique dragon type resistance, unlike most rock throwers and smackdowners. And you got Crunch to work with and other coverage moves too. So I think this thing could be quite a terror in rock spamming teams in cups. And then we can also bump this thing up to Ultra League PvP as well. It'll have a similar stat product as Dragonite. If you want to take a look, boom. Very similar stat product. You don't see a whole lot of Dragonite in the current open meta, but in the Premier Cup Classic, which apparently no longer exists, thank you Niantic for that, Season 11, no Classic Cups, period. But yeah, should there ever be a time where, Dragon type attackers make sense in the Ultra League, Tyrantrum is a good option. It's got the stat line for it, it's got the moves for it, it could work out. But as far as the current open meta is concerned, I don't see a whole lot going on for Tyrantrum. Then when it comes to Tyrantrum in raids as a rock type attacker, it's on page 2 of the DPS TDO spreadsheet on GamePress. Being a little bit worse, roughly as good as Landorus incarnate form. Landorus isn't a rock type Pokemon, so there's no same type attack bonus there. So that doesn't look too good for Tyrantrum. I think the main thing really holding it back here is the fact that we got Stone Edge instead of Rock Slide. For raids in particular, like Rock Slide is a huge upgrade over Stone Edge. And I mean, same thing for PvP too. If Tyrantrum were to get Rock Slide, then it would be better than Aerodactyl and Stojourner. Stojourner is not in the game just yet. The DPS CDO spreadsheet does have some unreleased Pokemon that we've already know the movesets for, and then on my personal spreadsheet, I've got like homebrewed stuff like Stakataka, even though it doesn't have a move set yet in the current Game Master. You know, for my speculation video on the Ultra Beasts, if you want to check it out, link up above and in the description. You know, I put in moves for them just to get an idea of where they're going to be at. Is this thing a good rock type attacker either? It doesn't look like it. But yeah, if it got Rock Slide, it could be a bit better, but it still wouldn't be anything close to like Tyranitar or Rhyperior or any of the other like big boy rock types. You know, like a certain Raptor we know, Rampardos, not a T-Rex, a good rock type attacker. But not bad. And then when it comes to it as a dragon type, it's going to be kind of a similar deal, because how is this thing going to compete with the big boy dragons? It really doesn't. It's not terrible. It's got the right moveset, but it's not going to be an impactful dragon type Pokemon. Next up, we have Amaura and its evolution, Aurorus, in the Great League PvP. You can see that they're rocking a pretty solid stat product, you know, roughly 2,000. And you will see that Amaura does, you know, work out as a big XL option. But kind of like with the Tyrunt here, I don't think there's a whole lot of incentive to big XL the Amaura to power that up all the way. I think you should just stick with Aurorus and call it a day. I know there are some, you know, Mavericks out there that are going to power up this thing anyways just because they can, so I guess more power to them. But if you look at their stats specifically, Amaura doesn't bring anything to the table over Aurorus. It's got less stamina. This is maximum stat product, by the way. It's got less stamina and less HP, so same move set. So it doesn't. It's just a lot of Stardust and a lot of XL candy, right? Good thing about these Pokemon is that they do have the Bolt Beam combo. So they got Powder Snow to accelerate their charge moves. They got Weather Ball, which is not bad. It's pretty good early activation charge move. And then they got Thunderbolt, which gives like near neutral perfect coverage against a whole lot of things, which is awesome. A big problem is that Thunderbolt isn't a whole lot to get past a lot of Steel type Pokemon. So lacking a super effective hit on Steel is going to make them kind of like tickle Steel types. And then to add to that, they are Ice Rock type Pokemon, so they take double super effective damage from Steel type attacks. Not that a lot of Steel type Pokemon use them, but they will get obliterated by Steel type attacks. So Steel type Pokemon, big problem for them. But hey, all Pokemon have their weaknesses. But if you really think about it, Rock and Ice type, these Pokemon have a bit more weaknesses than most, because Ice is probably one of the worst defensive types in the game. Rock is also a super bad defensive type in the game. I think they take double super effective damage from Fighting type as well, and then take super effective damage from like Grass and Water and a whole lot of other things. So it's going to be rough. Like 2,000 stat product, looking kind of thick. But that thickness, we're probably not going to feel it because they're weak to so many types of Pokemon. And then they're so soft hitting that I don't think they're going to have a whole lot of impact, once again, outside of cup formats. In a cup format could be really interesting. And they got, you know, the ability to sneak into cups with, you know, both their rock and ice type. And ice type cups, we do got rock type coverage from Aurorus specifically. We do have rock throw to work with. Amaura does not have rock throw. So this could be an interesting rock thrower, kind of like Tyrantrum over there, with Weather Ball for unique coverage, Thunderbolt for unique coverage, maybe blast them with a big Hyper Beam or Blizzard. That could be interesting. But in the open meta, I don't really see either of these Pokemon having a whole lot of impact. Cup formats, though, could be really good. You'll definitely want to pick a couple up for that. And then Aurorus here can also bump up to the Ultra League, where it's same situation. You know, it's got good stat product. It's got a very, you know, good move pool. Hits a lot of things for neutral. But Rock and Ice type, not that great. It's, you know, and as far as the impact is concerned, pretty low impact. Maybe it could work out in cups or in like a limited meta. Maybe in the future the meta will develop in a way that this thing could just work out in that extra special kind of unique way. But in the current state of the game, I don't see a whole lot from Aurorus. That doesn't mean you should sleep on an Ultra League Aurorus, you know, like you shouldn't at least like star it and keep it in your bag. but probably not the first thing you're going to be building or bringing to Ultra League PvP. So aside from the two new Pokemon, a really cool thing with the Adventure Week event is that we're having increased Shieldon spawns in the wild. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't have an XL Bastiodon built up myself yet. I don't have a good IV spread for one, and I do not have the XL candy for one either. And with the Season 11 update, all trades are guaranteed XL. You don't have to do 100-kilometer distance trades in Season 11 of GBL. It's just a trade, you know? So then, so Shieldon, you know, more XL candy, more spawns, more chance to get the good IV. Maybe if I have time, maybe I'll do a PvP IV deep dive on it. Right now I want to finish Metacham before GoFest because it's going to be part of the Tundra spawns. So, you know, Shieldon's not exactly a priority, but if I do find some time for it, maybe I'll whip together a Bastiodon PvP IV deep dive. So that's the Adventure Week event. If you got any questions on this content, of course, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this kind of content, you want to see more like it, well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. If you want to support Swagman on Patreon, link in the description. Which features the debut of Tyrunt, which evolves into Tyrantrum, and then we've got Amaura, which evolves into Aurorus.